afternoon, everybody. Tonight I'm just gonna be doing a little bit of model building tonight. I was talking to Brother Monroe yesterday, and he was asking me how to import models into CPower and all that stuff. And he's given himself a bit of a challenge because he for his first ever actual import, he wants to use an aircraft. Aircrafts are not particularly easy to import, not because they're really any harder to do than like ships or helicopters or submarines. Submarines probably maybe one. No, they're not really any more easier. I'd say ships are probably the easiest thing to do. And the reason being is that they have lots of moving parts. And moving parts can create headaches. So, to help Brother Monroe out, and help all of you others who'd like to learn more about modding and importing models into the game, don't ask about researching all the depths and systems and all that stuff is not quite my department. I know bits and pieces, but for the most part I focus on doing in my brain, the cool shit, building the models, and learning about the history about those aircraft or vehicles in general. Really, I have a strong interest in tank, plane, ships, rockets, and I especially love the history and the thought process that goes into why they did that why they went for that approach. Why did they give it that style of wing? And all of those other bits. But yeah, that is me. So I have a lot of just random books hanging around of all of these different technical stuff. But not as technical as, going into the mathematics of everything. So, yeah. So what I'm doing at the moment is I have found this excellent little resource here. This excellent little manual for the Canberra Electric, and this is fantastic when it comes to model building because I have the profile, all the profiles here. But not only that, they give me the actual point profiles within the frame, which is fantastic. I'm not seeing point of where these bits all line up. General process I'm going to go for that. For when I do that is I'm going to just lay this flat and just position everything accordingly. So I have gone through and I've sized up all these circles. All these circles have been scaled according to these little slices. And then next I'm going to go and just come up with my flat plane. I'm going to have to line this up with the axis. I wouldn't say it's going to be incredibly easy, and I'm not going to go for complete accuracy. I'm going to accept that I can't get this completely centered. Excuse me. Now, because I don't quite know where all these markers are, what I'm going to do is simply move them along the fuselage till they hit their point, until they don't fit, and that is going to be where they belong. that gets a little bit trickier with the tailpiece. And you have to excuse me if the image is sort of jerking back and forth a lot. The scroll wheel on my mouse is dying. It is pretty much, it's nearly unusable. Which is very sad because it means I'm gonna have to buy a new mouse. Ah, which I don't really want to do. Money is not something I am flush with. Yeah, and I can't be super accurate either because I'm gonna be honest. This scan of the manual is crooked all over the place. So I'm gonna have to take some liberties into like where things line up. I'm gonna have to make some pretty good educated guesses. Yeah. Unfortunately, like as you can see on here, these give you all of the center points of where all these pieces line up, and I made sure beforehand to position them. So there's that. The only downside is because I'm using planes, is they are not easy to see from above. But it shouldn't be too bad. I do know that some of these, well, like this one for example, is lines up with the cockpit. And then nose and nose cone, and those other two, they belong to the engine nacelle. You know, and the only reason I know that is because it's got they've got their letter keys associated to them. Oh, okay. That okay. Easy. Let's see how far off I got. I did not see that there. Okay, let's go and convert this over. We're going to stand it, turn it, and then take take that bit off. And we're going to bring it up to here. And then I'm going to disable that one. Try and center this as best I can. There we go. And here we go. That is the center line right there. So if I can find the bloody arrow, which is not where I really want it to be, I can do my best to line this up. And that's great. Now I can just go and pull these forward. There's A, there's B, we got C, D is, gonna have to do it this way. Oh, I should probably, um, line that one up there. Don't understand why those points are so far away. And this is making a lot more sense to me now. And then G is there. Oh, that is beautiful. That is not. Must have mucked it up at some point. That's fun. Well, next fun part is to take all these points, and I'm going to hide that for the moment, and I'm going to Control J them, like Control J to join them all together, and then go into edit mode. Let's dissolve. Gonna just go through them all and dissolve just all these little points inside. Do that, does that, do that, does that. That's a little bit frustrating. Fine. Okay, well, let's go bridge. Boom. Bridge that one. Bridge that one. Bridge that one. I don't know how this bit's gonna work out, but see? That totally worked. Sometimes the tools will not work how you want. There we go. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's just fun. I'll have to do this by hand. Nope. Oh, that's why. There was one point, just one edge that was not selected. Okay. I don't think that profile was entirely perfect, but hey, it's a start. Mm. That pitot tube feels a little bit short, but whatever. Alright, let's go and do some adjustments. Like, let's raise this up. Let's go. Now, with the old English electric camera, I have seen a lot of these planes in museums. Um, Out in my hometown, I can think about probably 3 or 4 locations where you can find them. They are like nearly everywhere. Um, and I don't know if that's because there was just that many. Could have been. But yeah, there's a lot around. Um, and most commonly, the ones that I normally see are the reconnaissance variants. I haven't really. Hey, Seabase. I haven't seen too many Canberra electrics where it just has a fielding cone. It has um, it has just the perspex cone where the cameraman lays on his belly and sits in the nose to take photos. And I've seen lots of them. There seems to be quite a different range of different variants of this plane. Well, Seabase, today I am working on Canberra Electric. Sorry, General Electric Canberra. Very old British design. What do you mean? Which UI? In what program? Ah, okay. Glad I could help. Ah, that's why it's bugging out. What are you working on today, Seabase? Um, let me just go double check. Oh, probably won't do this for too much longer though. Just fair warning. Um, let's see. So the Argentinians use, looks like it just says B62. That does not narrow it down in terms of what configuration that they used. Just says, just basically means that they used them. Um, let's see. So apparently the Argentinians had a total of 10 refurbished ex-RAF B2 models, and and then they had two of the T4 models, which I'm guessing is the trainer. So that means if I scroll and find it, so the B2 model Canberra, it says here first production version. The crew was increased to 3 with additional bomb aimer. The Avon RA3 engines with 6,500 pounds of thrust. Wingtip fuel tanks. Okay, well, we've got the designs for that. That's about it. And then I believe for the British, they did have them. They were using them. They had a PR9 version, which is probably a reconnaissance. Yeah, photo reconnaissance version. So I'll have to do just 2 variants, which is not that hard. The only thing that's different between them is the nose cone. Although the PR9 has the off-centered cockpit. Yay. Why can't things just be symmetrical? Yeah, yeah, it's all for the Falcons mod. This is, I'm kind of just doing this because, Brother Monroe once, was just asking me for help with, importing models and stuff. So, this is just kind of a good excuse to put something together and then just show him the general process of how to import a plane and all the different annoying aspects of getting them to work in Z-PAL. They are not fun. Oh, so yeah, gonna build all this, and then what I can do from there is essentially just have like a little, give them a little bit of a guide on all the different things that you got to do to make it work. Because you've done the vegan mod from memory, so you would have an idea of how painful some of the bits can be. Like doing the rudders and the flaps and a whole host of other little parts. Well, we don't have a Vulcan model yet. It is on my list of things to build. Um, it's the only um, the only thing is we're trying to avoid using models from like SketchUp and all that stuff. Generally speaking, we're trying to source, like, do all our models in house, and the reason for that is just for copyright reasons. I can't always guarantee that anything found on SketchUp, regardless of whoever put it up there, if they are the original source. So I'm just trying to take out the risk, essentially. Trying. It does mean more work to do though. That's the only sucky part. Believe me, if you bring out your Vulkan mod, look, I'm happy to use it as sort of like a base foundation, just get things, like built on for the time being. And, did I not? I thought I fixed that. Yeah, like a test bed, get all the coding and everything set up, and then when you the our model is done, we've got pretty much all the INI side of things all done and ready to go, more or less, except for the animation and the rigging and everything, because that part's fun. It's like with all of the kit bashes. So we're temporarily using kit bashes for mission testing, basically. And they work as a good analog for the time being while we are still building the models up. I think generally speaking, the longest part of getting the models done is just getting the getting the INI stuff all sorted. Building the models, if I get a good boost of motivation, doesn't take very long. They can be done, like the model, and if I have a full day of very few interruptions and I only give myself a handful of breaks, well, I can have a model done in a day. Texturing the next day, and then day 3, it's doing all the fixes, because there's lots of things along the process where, yeah, you break, or you need to adjust things to make it work with other stuff, and yada yada yada. It's all fun and games. It's just part of the process of building models. That did not go according to plan. Oh, well, it's up to you, man. There's nothing to say that people can't make their own stuff. And there's nothing to say that people can't double up either. Son of a bitch. Yeah. Everyone has their own interpretations of things, so I honestly don't mind. If you get it all set up nice and straight, and then next thing you know, you find it's crooked. Just this part. Nothing else. I have encountered some people in the past, they get very protective of stuff. They don't like, um, some people don't like the idea of other people building the same things that they did. So you could say some, like, yeah, you get a bit of territory protection type stuff going on and all that, which is fun to deal with. That is not in the right place. Delete that. I'm going to separate that selection and dupe, mirror, select it all. Huh. Control J. What do I need? Mesh. Merge by distance. And smooth everything flat. Wow. Okay. Let's undo what I just did. There is apparently oh, that was not what I meant. But okay, that's fine. I need a new mouse. This one is dying. Horrible, horrible death. Let's see if I got enough money in the bank to go and buy myself a new mouse. Because yeah, the mouse will. Yeah, that was me scrolling out, and then sometimes yeah, it just does not have a fun time. How's all that looking? Okay, so that's the center point. It's just what it is. I'll get it sorted at some point. Tell you what though, something I am pretty excited to see is Mitchell's model of his Dutch Carrier. So, like, sorry, didn't mean to hit the mic. Yeah, so his he's building the Colossus class basically, and he was sharing with me all of these pictures of like the construction and everything. Like he's got a huge sort of archive collection of photos of all this work that went into the Dutch Colossus. Can't quite remember the name off the top of my head at the moment. But it looks really cool. And then I think around in the 60s, somewhere either 60s or 70s, they sold it to Argentina. And they used it to replace one of their carriers that they had before that. So Argentina's had, they've had a few carriers. Yeah, so, lots of pictures. He talked a lot about all the different modifications they did to it in order to make it a little bit more functional, all that stuff. It was really interesting. And yeah, so Mitchell does a lot of like CAD work. So accuracy is key for him. Where I don't always go for exact accuracy, I will. Huh. Yeah, I'll often. Sometimes, if I find it's a little bit too hard, I will just go try to find an easier option. Why does that? Or just, you know, take the odd liberty here and there. Like Melbourne, for example. Um, I would not call it an accurate representation of what she looked like in real life. Not far off, but yeah, there's plenty of things which could have been a little bit more better done. And I'll probably go back and fix them at some point. At the moment, oh, it's gonna be a little bit. Um, yeah, it seems to be picking up Blender pretty quickly. That's something about the Dutch. When they apply themselves, you know, really well. Uh, apologize for the yawning. I yeah. Oh, it's 2 a.m. I was in the process of falling asleep, and then Commander Bub started crying and was brought into the bed. She proceeded to cuddle in with me, and I woke up. Oh, the joys of having a little pupper. So when I go back to the bedroom in probably the next 20 minutes or so, I will be moving her back to a cot. Alright, you enjoy, man. Come on. Launchback distance. Huh. let's try that again. So go with that. Shrink that down a bit. Raise it up. What photos have we got around? Okay. Nah, that's not looking right. There is, of course, a better way. Nope. There we go. Oh. That is the fuselage of the Canberra Electric. that's gonna be the fun part. I gotta give it the right profile. shape this better. There we go. That's the shape I want. And let's just do shade smooth. And why are you having errors? Match my distance. Shade smooth. And there we go. Yeah, okay. Well, that's the cylinder done. Oh. Oh dear. The engines are not flat to being canted or tilted. Ugh. Alrighty. Well, I am going to call it quits there. I've done the fuselage. I'll get the engines sorted next, and then start on some of the other parts. And like I said earlier, this is a great little plan. I've got all my dimensions. It's gonna be fun doing the wing. I don't particularly like doing wings too much, but you know, what are you gonna do? Hang on, what do we got? So there's K. There's L. Where's J? Oh, J is Tailplane. Okay. That's gonna be fun. Oh, on the plus side, at least I can say I'm gonna be building a very accurate model.